Okay, here we go. Now, really, really importantly, so just before we get into it, a few things. So we're doing the recording. I'll send you the replay. Number one, I'm recording this, and you guys can hear and see each other. I know that can be a bit intimidating, maybe for some of you, maybe to some of you, you're completely unfazed by it. But the idea of doing this sort of practice, at least for me, is I want to give you guys as realistic practice as possible. And part of that means having a bit of pressure. And that means answering in front of each other. There's already a little bit of pressure on you. I've had one-on-ones where people say just answering a question to me already is a bit more pressure. So we can talk about how to do pageant interview, or we just give you guys as much practice as possible. And my belief is if we can make that practice realistic, it's going to be hugely beneficial to you. So that's number one. Number two, I am going to get you. So if you don't have a pen and paper handy, part of this is I want you to practice being a judge. I don't want you to practice being judgmental, but I want you to practice being a judge, because as you do that, has anyone judged a pageant here, by the way? Okay. Oh, all of you have. All right. So as you do more of this, you're going to become more attuned to what is it that a judge could look for. So get your pens and papers handy, because I'm also going to get you to ask each other questions, because I can ask questions, and I certainly will, and I definitely will give feedback, and I could get ChatGPT to ask you questions, but I want to give you guys a chance to ask questions so that you become better judges. But also, as you get better at knowing what a judge is looking for, I think you'll become a better interviewer as well, a better interview. So just get your pens and papers handy, because what I'll do in a sec is we'll go around the room and I'll get you to do your brief pageant intro. And the idea of that, just enough information that the other guys here could ask you a question. Okay. So not 5 minutes, but not just your name. So somewhere in between that. I do have your paperwork and I can leverage off that. But I want to give you guys a chance to get comfortable doing the judging as well. Keep you on your toes. And one other thing I'll be doing is when you do an answer, I will be, if the tech holds up, I'll be recording it. And then I'm going to replay it right here in front of us so you can see and hear how you look and sound straight away. Because another belief I have, I want you to be in charge of you. So I don't think it's my place to tell you this is what you should say, this is how you should look, this is how you should sound. I'm here to give you my feedback, but I want you guys to know what it is. I mean, just a show of hands, who's seen a video of themselves answering an interview question, let's say in the last month? Okay, so one. Well, Deanna, you're in good company then. I'm impressed there's one, because I will say, after doing a whole bunch of mocks with the Miss USA, Miss Teen USA girls, 80% of them had not seen themselves ever answering a question. And that scares me, because I give the analogy, it's like me getting you to drive 60 miles an hour down a highway or freeway, blindfolded, and you're relying on me to give you directions. That's just not going to end well. So I really want you guys to know what you look like and how you sound. And that's what we're going to be doing here. Okay, do I have any questions so far? Then we're going to get straight into it. No? Okay, so first off, what I might do, we have one person who's attending virtually, so she'll be attending via the replay. And so she has sent in, her name is Leilani, she's over in Hawaii. And what we might do is I'll start with the submissions that she put in, so we can just check that the video tech is working. So can you guys just tell me whether you can hear this?
Accomplishments, and why does it mean so much to you? Whenever you're ready.
Okay, we can all hear. Okay, so get your pens and papers handy. I will give Leilani her feedback right after we go through her video. I think it's only maybe 30 seconds or a minute long. I think there's 2 questions. And I might come to you to give feedback, but don't count on it. But I want you to listen to it with your judge's hats on, yeah? And warm up that judging muscle. So here we go. And hopefully we can all hear it and see
One of your proudest accomplishments, and why does it mean so much to you? Whenever you're ready, feel free to dive in.
One of my proudest accomplishments was becoming a flight attendant at Hawaiian Airlines. This is a dream that I had worked for many years, and I had tried many, many times, failing interview after interview. And after 6 years, I finally passed all 3 interviews and made it through to becoming accepted as a flight attendant. And this was the beginning of one of the best periods of my life to work for Hawaiian Airlines, which also represents my culture and allowed me to travel all over the world and share Hawaiian culture and aloha with so many people. Life-changing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that looks like that was one question. So again, you guys you have your own feedback. What I'll say to Leilani, because again, we're sending the replay to her and to all of you. I watched the first answer just before we got on here. You're blinking quite a lot. I don't know if any of you noticed that, but in terms of the body language, Leilani, you were blinking quite a lot. You might be outside, maybe there's a reason for it, but blinking can mean that you're a bit unsure of yourself. So we'd want to watch that. In terms of the answer, I thought the answer was pretty solid. I think we just need to make it more concise, and we need to punch home what our message is. So I think the answer had some good content there in terms of showing what your values are, but I think we just need to sharpen it up a little bit more, and I'm sure we'll get there with a bit more practice. So we'll go on to the next question.
Here's another one for you. How do you balance your personal life and your professional ambitions? Whenever you're ready, feel free to share your thoughts.
How do I balance my personal life and professional ambitions? This is a really great question, and actually I'm in the middle of going through reflection on that myself. At this point in my life, after finishing one dream career, I'm looking at what is next for the future. I'm also balancing family life, caregiving for my mom who's overcoming breast cancer, as well as desiring to start my own family, and then looking at how I can help my sister and brothers to become more successful in life. So this is something that I'm still working through, but I know that God will give me the answers and will help me to move forward.
One unique quality or talent.
Okay, so I've worked with Leilani in a private setting, and I know that she's going through a period of life transition at the moment. You probably can intuit that from her answer. I thought that answer, again, was solid. The beginning it took her a little bit of time to get going, but I think that's okay. She did repeat the question. Now, you guys can decide whether you want to be one of those people who repeat the question or not. A lot of people will tell you it's not a good idea because it looks like you're buying time. Other people will tell you to do it so that it does buy you time. It's completely up to you. Okay? We've got one more answer here, I think, and then we'll get to you guys.
Talent that you bring to the pageant stage that sets you apart from other contestants, and how do you plan to showcase it?
So one unique skill or talent that I bring to the pageant stage is the art of sign dance. I've been doing this dance dance in general since I was 3, and this type of dance since I was 8, maybe, or 9. So sign dance is American Sign Language with more movement. I'm trained in ballet, so I like to combine ballet and sign language, and so that combination I found is very powerful, moving, and very expressive, and it allows me to really take the song or a song that speaks to me and share the heart of what this song is, and also in a way that hard of hearing people could understand if they knew American Sign Language. So it's not only communicating, it's also visually appealing and beautiful, and also for hearing people, it's something that helps them to feel the heart and message of the song. So I'm so excited to share this talent, this gift with everyone on the pageant stage through the song that I'll be sharing.
Okay, so that's it from Leilani. I thought
times,
I'm playing it again. Give it a sec. I thought, Leilani, that answer was the strongest. I know that part is very important to you, so it's a bit easier to give a good answer when something has personal meaning to you. I also think that because it was sort of the third question that you answered, you'd warmed up by that period of time. I think you took a bit longer answering that question, but I don't mind that because I think you highlighted parts of your personal story to go with that answer. So that's Leilani's, that's a video feedback. And so what we'll do now, And Leilani, if you have any questions, send them to me via email. But you guys here, what we're going to do now, we're going to go around the room. So we'll go, and Win has muted her mic. So when you're not speaking, if you want to mute your mic, that's fine, so that we don't hear, I don't know if you've got a cat screeching around in the background, or a blender, or what have you, a screaming child, or a combination of all three, right? It's all good. But we'll go around the room. We'll go to Win, then to Juliana, then to Deanna. And again, that short pageant intro, just enough so that the other two people listening and myself can give you maybe a couple of questions. And so we'll go Win, Juliana, Deanna, and then when we come back around to Win, Juliana or Deanna, I'll be getting you to ask Win a question. Okay, and then we'll see how we go. As I said, it's first time round, but we'll see how we go. All right, so Win, over to you. Your pageant intro, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Wen Sipple. I live in Omaha, Nebraska. Shortly, I'm going to be competing for the first time in the American Royal Beauties pageant system. I'll be competing at the Elite Ms. level, which is for women 45 years of age and older, married or unmarried. I have not competed in a pageant for 25 years. So this is the point where the two of you say, I'm not even 25 years old. But I competed many, many years ago and recently have been inspired to put myself out there again. So I'm really excited about it. My pageant system only has interview, evening gown, and personal introduction. So excited to kind of simplify the competition. And we emphasize in the American Royal Beauty System the platform. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm here to work with all of you and Adrian. My personal platform, I'm calling it Crowned to Serve, Called to Lead Civic Engagement. And I have a focus on voting, volunteerism, and vlogging.
Beautiful. All right. So Juliana and Deanna, just whatever questions you have, just jot them down and I'll come back to you. Win, can you just go over your platform name once again? It was quite long.
It is long. I'm still developing it, but I'm playing
okay.
off. I'm playing off on the pageant system's motto, which is crowned to serve, comma, called to lead, civic engagement.
Okay, so Juliana and Deanna, so whatever questions you have for Win, just jot them down. And then when you're ready, so Win, you can go ahead and mute yourself again. Juliana, when you're ready, unmute yourself and give us your little pageant bio. And then Deanna, Win, it'll be your turn to jot down a couple of questions you'd like to ask Juliana.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Juliana Golden and I am the Miss Gulf Coast for Miss Earth USA. A little bit about me, my hobbies include playing the violin, going thrifting and shopping at estate sales, and playing video games along with cosplaying at anime conventions. My personal platform is called Be Careful. That is spelled as BEE, as in the bumblebee. I'm very passionate about protecting and serving the environment, specifically through educating our youth on the importance of being environmentally friendly and getting involved in volunteerism. I am currently in college studying environmental sciences with hopes to eventually graduate and work at my local zoo as a zookeeper. And I've already begun educating the youth at my local zoo here in Alabama. Every summer, I go and I educate children on the importance of various animals. I also am a wildlife rescuer. I've been an animal care technician before, where I would volunteer at the Alabama Wildlife Center with the birds of prey. And I'm also glove trained so I can handle those animals. And thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
Amazing. All right. You didn't go into how you scare people for a living, Juliana.
I know, that's another thing. I am a scare actor at Warehouse 31. I didn't want to scare them away. Okay.
Well, I don't think you can, unless you can actually reach through and pull someone's leg. I don't think you'll be able to do that. But a lot of fun facts there. I love it. Okay, so Win and Deanna, so you got your questions hopefully for Juliana. And then Deanna, when you're ready, go ahead and unmute yourself and give Win and Juliana your pageant intro.
Good evening. Since I was 5, I have been collecting Miss Arkansas America shoes. After being given my first pair, I realized I love collecting items related to my passions, and this really fueled my CSI Clean Start, where my family and I have been collecting and donating hygiene items worldwide. I've been able to donate over 100,000 items, and as your next local title holder, I plan to take this number to 250,000 in the year ahead. Ask me anything.
Okay, perfect. So what I want you guys to get is that, so Deanna, you had a bit of a stumble there. And Leilani, when she was doing her video, she had a bit of a stumble there. That's all good. Okay, that's the reason we want to do practice like this, especially in front of other people, because most of us are perfect when we answer in our heads, but doing it like this is that bit of pressure practice that you need. I have a background as a tennis coach, for those of you who don't know. For me, it was almost pointless doing a practice that had no pressure because that's not real. And so, Deanna, it's all good. If you stumble here, I just say, kudos to you for actually showing up and doing the work, because I assure you that we can move that needle a long way. All right. So, Win, Julia, Deanna, does anyone need anyone to do their bio again, just so that you can get a question, or does anyone have any questions before we get into the interview part? No? All right, so we're going to go to Win first. I'm going to get my recording software ready. And Juliana, you're going to be in the hot seat first in terms of giving Win a question. Okay? So, Juliana, when you're ready, you'll have to unmute yourself unless you want Win to practice her lip reading.
I'm ready.
Okay, all right. So, Juliana, when you're ready, give Win the question.
All right. So I remember bits and pieces of your personal platform, but I would love to learn more about it. What got you started in creating this?
Win, you'll have to unmute yourself. I think you're muted. I can't hear you. I think your microphone is cut out. Is it coming through the AirPods, or is it? Just have a look at your microphone setting below. We'll give Win a chance to just get that sorted out. No, still. Deanna and Juliana, can you hear Win, or is it just me? All right, so Win, if you have a look below, there should be a little cog wheel, and under the audio settings, there should be a audio selection, like a mic. And depending on what you're on, because I can see you got your AirPods, just make sure it's going through the AirPods. No, still can't. Easiest solution, Win, drop off the call, just close everything up, and then join us again. Okay? All right, so we'll get Win back in a second. Whilst we're doing that, I'm going to keep you guys on your toes. Deanna, your hot seat for Juliana. So whilst we're waiting for Win, you give Juliana your best question, and we'll let Juliana answer. All right, Deanna, when you're ready.
So you mentioned that your community service is very environmental based. However, and you said that you currently work at a zoo and that your major is about environmental science. However, one of the big topics is are zoos always humane to animals? What do you think you can do to help make sure that the zoo you are working at is always being humane? And in addition to that, is always being able to educate and help prevent other zoos from not being humane?
That is a very lovely question, and also a very important, serious one. So the best way to find out whether or not a zoo is ethical is to look at whether or not they're AZA accredited. The AZA is an organization that goes through every zoo in the US and makes sure that the animals are well taken care of, and the place that they're put into is very humane. It reaches all of their needs and they're not being exploited. The Birmingham Zoo is AZA accredited, and we are very involved within various species protection plans. So another way to also make sure that a zoo is accredited is to take a good look at how their enclosures are as well. If it looks like an animal is not getting its needs met, that is a good idea to maybe contact the AZA to see if these animals can get better treatment.
Very nice. All right. So what we're going to do, Win is still dropping on and off. So as I said, I'm going to replay that answer for you, Juliana, so you can hear yourself straight away. Hopefully this is the right one. We've got Win back.
I can't wait to be embarrassed.
Oh, we're here for the embarrassment. All right. But this is the most, I promise you, this is the most useful thing you guys will do for your pageant interview prep. It's to see what you look like and hear how you sound like. Because full disclosure, Juliana, you and I have been on a call before and you've been given the feedback that you need to show more personality. And it's one of those things that's quite infuriating because, like, what does it mean? So I'm hoping that by showing you your answer, you might clue in and you go, oh, that's what they mean. Or you'll hear it and go, no, these judges are just full of it. They don't know what they're talking about. All right. So either way, let's get into it.
So you mentioned that your community service is very environmental based. However, and you said that you currently work at a zoo and that your major is about environmental science. However, one of the big topics is are zoos always humane to animals? What do you think you can do to help make sure that the zoo you are working at is always being humane? And in addition to that, is always being able to educate and help prevent other zoos from not being humane?
That is a very lovely question and also a very important, serious one. So the best way to find out whether or not a zoo is ethical is to look at whether or not they're AZA accredited. The AZA is an organization that goes through every zoo in the US and makes sure that the animals are well taken care of and the place that they're put into is very humane. It reaches all of their needs and they're not being exploited. The Birmingham Zoo is AZA accredited, and we are very involved within various species protection plans. So another way to also make sure that a zoo is accredited is to take a good look at how their enclosures are as well. If it looks like an animal is not getting its needs met, that is a good idea to maybe contact the AZA to see if these animals can get better treatment.
All right. So now I throw back to Juliana to get Juliana's thoughts on Juliana. So thoughts?
Not too bad. I thought it could have a little bit more improvement. I do notice my own speech delays, but it's a good thing we get all the stutters out now before I go in and do that.
100%. I will say, just for reference, I was looking at the timing. Your answer was about a minute long. Now, I only bring this up because I know different systems will have different lengths of pageant interview. So, for example, Miss USA just gone by was 2 or 3 minutes. You'll get a Miss America interview, can be 10 minutes, and then there's everything in between. And so you just want to make sure whatever you're aiming for, you're hitting it. I know a lot of people talk about 30-second answers. And so if you want to practice that, then you can do that. But just be mindful whilst we're doing this of how long your answers are going for. I loved your answer, Juliana. I thought it was full of information and I thought it was very well thought out. And I thought you answered the question very well because Deanna actually asked you quite a tricky question. It wasn't like a vanilla question that you can just, what's your favorite color? And I thought you answered it really well. Only other thing, you and I think we talked about this before, the monotone voice. So it tends to go along one sort of pitch all the time. And so you may just want to bring a bit more excitement and I'm not saying use your hands like a crazy person, but if you don't have that voice that naturally goes up and down, then you may want to add a bit more, I don't want to say excitement, but does that make sense? If we've got the monotone voice.
Add more fluctuation, I know.
No, I'm not saying that as a criticism. I'm just pointing that out. Yeah, and that's why I showed you. All right, now, Win, can you say something so we can see if we can hear you?
I'm saying something.
Oh God. Okay, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right. All right. I don't know what happened there.
I apologize. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. All right. Now, I'm not going to expect that Win remembers a question. So, Juliana, you need to ask Win her question again. So when and it could be a completely different one. If you want to keep her on the toes, that's fine too. But when you're ready, Juliana, give Win your best question.
Absolutely. I'll go with my other one. You said that you've been out of the pageant world for about 25 years. and just now got into it again. What does it feel like coming back into pageantry after being away for so long?
I feel a little bit of that nervous anticipation because I'm excited. Um, Excited to have the glamour of pageantry, some new clothes. I have a hair appointment, all of the girly things that are involved in pageantry. Also the nerves of putting myself out there to be judged, not only on the stage, but what's my family going to say? What are my work colleagues going to say? So that nervous excitement really is the theme of dipping my toe back in the water.
Perfect. All right. I'll replay it back for you, Win. So again, your feedback on yourself. Here we go.
Absolutely. I'll go with my other one. You said that you've been out of the pageant world for about 25 years and just now got into it again. What does it feel like coming back into pageantry after being away for so long?
I just pause Win's answer right there. Guys, when you're listening to it, if you're doing the judging, do me a favor, try giving them a score out of 10 or whatever you want, right? You'll stipulate whatever rubric you want, but just to practice that judging. I'm not going to get you to tell Win what your score is unless you really want to go there, right? But just to keep you on task, just what score you would give her out of 10, and you decide, what weighting you're going to give. So we'll go into Win's answer right now.
I feel a little bit of that nervous anticipation because I'm excited. Um, Excited to have the glamour of pageantry, some new clothes. I have a hair appointment, all of the girly things that are involved in pageantry. Also the nerves of putting myself out there to be judged, not only on the stage, but what's my family going to say? What are my work colleagues going to say? So that nervous excitement really is the theme of dipping my toe back in the water.
Okay, so Win, your thoughts on your answer.
I'm surprised that the higher tone of my voice. I almost felt like it was a little too high right there at the beginning. And I heard the dreaded at the beginning too. So I need to practice to eliminate the
Okay, all right. Now, with the if you get one in an answer or two, I wouldn't worry too much about it. It tends to be, when you say the ums, it's like waving a red flag in front of a pageant judge, and they say, "Oh, you said it." The thing I want you to get is, what's more important is the emotion behind the answer. Was your answer basically interesting? And I don't know if you noticed, but the whole time you were answering, Juliana was doing this, and she was smiling, which she doesn't do very often. And so your answer was really, I'm joking, Juliana. Your answer was engaging, Juliana. You were getting this, and your voice. So your feedback on the tonality of your voice, right? The ups and the downs, that's fair. You have the opposite kind of voice to Juliana, though. Now, there's no right or wrong. So you don't necessarily want to go monotone. You could go more monotone if you want. That's up to you. Juliana could add more inflections if she wants. That's up to her. I have to be honest, I quite enjoyed that because I thought it was quite engaging. Now, that's only my feedback, right? This is why I want to show you and get you, like, what do you sound like? What do you look like? Because you might differ from me. And if you want to tone it down, all power to you. From my point of view, I didn't find it distracting. What I would find more distracting from a tonality point of view is what us Australians do, particularly is what's called question talking, which is at the end of every sentence we go up. And so my name is Adrian. And so it makes me sound really uncertain because I keep going up. That's not good. But I thought the natural inflections you had in your voice, I think that's fine. Okay.
Thank you.
Now everyone say hello to Leilani, because Leilani has jumped on. Leilani, we've gone over your video already, but I will obviously get you included in this. But Win, does that make sense? Just what I said there?
It does. Thank you for that feedback. I haven't heard myself, so I'm not used to hearing what does that sound like.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's why I want you to hear that, because I think that's going to be more impactful for your improvement than me telling you something. I will say, base level, you can tell you've done this sort of thing before. You spoke really well. That wasn't like beginner level. That was already like very, very good. And so I would say we're looking for fine tweaks. Don't pick yourself apart too much, especially based on content and little things like, you know, what we call the brain farts, the ums and the likes. Look at it more in terms of the holistic. Did I like that answer? And I understand that you want to always improve, which is great, but just don't pick yourself apart too hard, because I thought overall that was a really great answer. Okay, good baseline.
Thank you.
All right, Deanna, are you ready for your question? It's going to be win. So Leilani, just so you know, each of these three lovely ladies gave us a brief pageant bio, just enough for us to be able to ask them questions. And I'm getting you guys to ask each other questions so you can practice that judging muscle. All right, so Win is going to have her chance to ask Deanna a question. We're going to record it, and then we're going to replay Deanna's question, her answer back to her. So Deanna, deep breath, and Win, when you're ready, go for it.
Yes. Deanna, some people feel that competitors in the Miss America pageant system should be loyal to that system only and not participate in other pageant systems. What do you think?
I think that it all depends on the person specifically. And most importantly, I think that no one should be locked down, held by contract, unless if they legally signed a contract, of course. But one of the most important things to me is, for example, I was a Miss Arkansas Diamond for whenever I was 8 years old. However, I then left the organization to go to other pageant systems. That way I could gain interview training, being able to walk on stage, compete more. And then whenever I came back, I felt like I was more prepared. It's all about doing what's best for you and your future, but also at the same time, having fun with it.
Deanna, how old are you?
I'm 15.
Wow. I'm not saying that to be ageist. I think that's amazing that you're brave enough to jump on a call like this at the age of 15 and answer that well. I wouldn't be answering as well as you just did at the age of 15. Let me put it that way. I want to give you a shout out for that. Acknowledge how brave you are being here with us. All right, let me replay it back for you, and then I'll get your thoughts on yourself.
Deanna, some people feel that competitors in the Miss America pageant system should be loyal to that system only and not participate in other pageant systems. What do you think?
I think that it all depends on the person specifically. And most importantly, I think that no one should be locked down, held by contract, unless if they legally signed a contract, of course. But one of the most important things to me is, for example, I was a Miss Arkansas Diamond for whenever I was 8 years old. However, I then left the organization to go to other pageant systems. That way I could gain interview training, being able to walk on stage, compete more. And then whenever I came back, I felt like I was more prepared. It's all about doing what's best for you and your future, but also at the same time, having fun with it.
All right. So, Deanna, what did you think of your answer? You'll have to unmute yourself, Deanna. We can't hear you.
Sorry.
There you go.
I feel like it wasn't terrible by any means. I felt pretty good about it. However, there were some parts where I felt like I could have inserted more of my personality and almost given the judges more almost talking points to then ask me about. For example, whenever I talked about being held down by contract, I could have talked about how whenever I grow up, I want to become a corporate and constitutional lawyer. And I feel like I could have almost directed the interview more.
Okay, so Deanna, I love that feedback. I want all of you just to hear. I don't want you guys to beat yourself up too much. So when you are looking at the feedback, when you see yourself, and it might be for the first time, I don't know, please at least acknowledge one thing that you've done well. Okay, because I guarantee you, none of you are giving answers that are so bad, everything is just terrible. Okay, and I know you're probably here because you're all perfectionists somewhere, if you're honest. Just be aware of that. Now, Deanna, given your age and given the question, now that was quite a prickly question, Win, I have to say, but it's a very good one because Miss America has been in the news behind the scenes because they've sort of gone after girls that have competed in other systems. Deanna, I thought, first and foremost, I thought you answered it very well. I love the content. If you wanted to relate it to a talking point, that's gravy on top. Do I think it would add to your answer? A little bit, but I thought you structured your answer very well and you answered what could be a particularly scary question. You answered it. That's a big thing when we're asked controversial questions is some people skirt around it and they don't answer it. That's a giant thing that you get marked down on. You didn't do that. You answered it. And the length of your answer was good as well. I thought it was long enough to give context, but it wasn't so long that it was rambling. Now, we're going to go for another blitz round, okay, because I want to do more of the practice, guys. But just so you know, I've been asking a few people behind the scenes the difference between Miss USA, Miss America, and Miss Volunteer America interviews as a giant overall. They are all completely different. Now, I know you know this, but just to give you the highlights, Miss USA this year, they didn't have any paperwork. They did intro videos. That threw a lot of the seasoned competitors for a loop because they weren't prepared for that. But it was only 2 or 3 minute interview. The consensus from the people I've asked, and this is directors and judges, they think that Miss USA interview is not about what you say. It's about when you walk in the room, are you relatable? And so that makes sense given that it's a Miss USA system, because that's what we really want is like the girl next door, right? Crossover with a Victoria's Secret model, if at all possible. Miss America, I had a contestant who just went through a Miss America local. The questions she got asked were horrifying. When I looked at them, it was, what do you think about ICE? What do you think about the Venezuelan boat situation? And it's like all the questions you never want to be asked. She got asked all of them in one interview. So that's Miss America. Apparently, it can be very random depending on who's on the panel. And the panels can be quite random. They'll get local people in. They'll get some more seasoned judges in. But you can be asked some really pointy questions in Miss America. Now, I don't know if that applies to your age group, Deanna, but I think it's worth bearing in mind. It's almost like they want to make you uncomfortable sometimes to see how you react. Miss Volunteer America is somewhere in the middle. They go more based on general competencies. So tell me a story that shows how you're resilient. For Juliana with Miss Earth USA, I would say it's probably more like the Miss Volunteer America, but obviously with an environmental theme. So you can expect a lot of questions like what Deanna asked you, frankly, about the zoo and how can you tell if a zoo is basically good for the animals' welfare. You just need to know your advocacy back to front and inside out. Okay. Now we're going to go through, I'm going to ask you all the same question this time, including Leilani. And it's going to be one of those questions that everyone dreads, just to set it up. And it's going to be, why should we pick you as our next title holder? Now, the person who goes first is going to be at a disadvantage, maybe, because she's got to answer on the spot. By the time we get to the fourth one, you will have heard other people's answers. You would have warmed up. But as I'm doing this, okay, number one, pressure. This is a hard question. That's why I want to do the hard question. Number two, when you're listening to other people's answers, jot down your notes. Oh, I like how she did this. I didn't like how she did that. Give it a score out of 10, whatever you want. Okay, so don't just sit there passively engage it, because as you do that, you're going to refine your answer. Okay, who wants to go first? Or do I just pick Deanna? Good for you. All right, so I'll ask the question to be fair, okay? All right. So, Deanna, tell us why you believe we should pick you as our next title holder.
I am authentic. I have never tried to change myself to best fit what I think people would like me more for. And rather, I think that's something that all teens and everyone in general needs to see more of. Now more than ever, people, especially on social media, are trying to change themselves. They're trying to look perfect. And I know I'm not perfect, and it is literally impossible for any person to be perfect. So rather than thinking, oh, I'm not perfect, and beating yourself up for it, say, you know what? I'm not perfect, but I'm working on becoming the best person I can be. And I've done exactly this and will continue to do this as your next Miss Arkansas teen.
All right, that was amazing. And again, Deanna, massive kudos for being brave enough to go first. Isn't it funny how sometimes the youngest one of us is the one that has the least fear? So that was amazing. I'll play it back for you. Anna, tell us why you believe we should pick you as our next title holder.
I am authentic. I have never tried to change myself to best fit what I think people would like me more for. And rather, I think that's something that all teens and everyone in general needs to see more of. Now more than ever, people, especially on social media, are trying to change themselves. They're trying to look perfect. And I know I'm not perfect, and it is literally impossible for any person to be perfect. So rather than thinking, oh, I'm not perfect, and beating yourself up for it, say, you know what? I'm not perfect, but I'm working on becoming the best person I can be. And I've done exactly this and will continue to do this as your next Miss Arkansas teen.
All right. So, Deanna, your thoughts on Deanna?
I felt like I did really good on being relatable, and I felt like I had a lot of personality, which is a comment that I have gotten previously, that sometimes I seem very serious and not teeny enough. But I felt like I was very true to myself without sounding not necessarily monotone, but very serious. But I also think that what I could have done better is I could have inserted some more like little tidbits about myself, talked about struggling being a singer, some things that I've seen in my own high school, or even working with my CSI Clean Start.
All right. So, Deanna, this is a perfect example of why you don't. I obviously give feedback as a coach, but I really feel that you guys know best as to what you want to get across. So, Deanna, your feedback for yourself is amazing. I don't really have anything to add to it. One thing I will say is you answered directly, which I loved. You just went, so you gave that answer straight up front, which I loved, and then you explained it. The only question I have for you, Deanna, is you noticed, I'm sure, that you had a bit of a stumble. Do you know what led to that stumble? Was your brain getting ahead of where it was? Did you just lose track of your thought for that moment of time?
My brain just basically got ahead of my mouth and I was thinking faster than I was speaking. But that's one thing I've also tried to work on, is not speaking too fast to where they can't understand what I'm saying and it gets just into a jumbled up mess.
Okay, so I got that. Now, as someone who's been diagnosed with ADHD, I understand the whole thing of brain, moving too fast and your mouth gets left behind. What I will say is, if you want to speak more quickly, that's all well and good, because if you speak more quickly, you get more words in, right? It only becomes, Deanna, too quick when they can't understand you. So if you're very articulate and you can speak more quickly, that's a good thing, because by and large, psychology, the research shows someone who speaks more quickly is perceived as more intelligent and more charismatic anyway. Now, again, it's not a black and white. There's obviously a part where you just say, oh my God, okay, I can't hear anything. But I don't think you were speaking too quickly in that at all. I know you've worked on slowing it down. You could maybe crank it 5 or 10%. I think you'd be fine. And then maybe the brain would be able to, the mouth would be able to keep up a little bit more. Okay. But you volunteered first. So, again, kudos to you. All right, let's pick someone. Leilani hasn't said anything yet because she was late to the call. So, Leilani, you're going to be in the hot seat. So, Leilani, can you just go ahead and unmute your mic and let's just make sure we can hear you. Just say hello to us.
Hi.
Perfect.
Yes, hi,
All right. So, Leilani, regardless of whether you're ready or not, because we're all born ready. All right. So, Leilani, tell us why we should pick you as our next title holder.
I would like to be your next Mrs. USA World because I would love to share my love of dance with even more young women across the nation, and to be a role model for young women, to remind them that they should never give up on their dreams, and they are representing not only themselves but their families and their cultures and their communities. And so it would truly be an honor to serve this organization and be that person. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So, guys, again, be jotting down your feedback. I'm going to get through as many of these as I can, because the more we practice, the better it's going to be. And so here we go. Leilani, tell us why we should pick you as our next title holder.
I would like to be your next Mrs. USA World because I would love to share my love of dance with even more young women across the nation, and to be a role model for young women, to remind them that they should never give up on their dreams, and they are representing not only themselves but their families and their cultures and their communities. And so it would truly be an honor to serve this organization and be that person.
All right. So, Leilani, your thoughts on yourself?
I always feel like I'm questioning, like, am I saying what I really want to say? But I think I did say what I really wanted to say, which is to dance is my thing. So I want more people to dance. Period. Whoever you are, wherever you are, and never giving up is also important to me because you just have to keep going in life. And then being a representative also of, so yeah, I think I hit the points I wanted to hit. I feel like I blink a lot. It might be the lash. Anyway. Yeah.
Leilani, that was the exact feedback I gave on the video that you sent in.
Okay.
And it's not blinking is bad. It's that it can convey a sense that you're unsure of yourself. And if it is the lashes or anything else, and this is, if you guys come on again with I encourage you to wear your actual interview outfit and even do your interview makeup, because you want to do test runs as often as possible. And you don't want to wait till you're interviewing for Miss America or Miss Earth USA, whatever it is, and go, oh my God, my makeup is running, my mascara is going down here, and all my interview outfit is so tight, I feel uncomfortable. Or you wear the jangly earrings and then you keep fiddling with it. So whenever you do a practice like this, whether it's with me or with anyone else, you can go ham, wear the whole full interview glam and outfit, because the more you do that, the more prepared you're going to be. All right. So Leilani, I thought that answer was great. The blinking was really the only feedback I had. I thought you spoke from the heart. I thought that we could see who you are in that answer, and I thought the answer was a good length. The blinking was a bit distracting, though, to be honest. So why? Because you're not blinking as much now. Is it something with the lashes?
I wonder if it's also a nervous thing. Like,
I think it might be because you're not doing it now.
How do I?
Okay.
How do I? How do I
not be nervous?
I don't, not necessarily. I don't know. Maybe like when I'm thinking and I'm talking, then I'm like unconsciously blinking too, which is not that good. That means I should try to practice not blinking.
Look, what I would say is with any of the issues you guys have with yourselves, as you're seeing yourself maybe for the first time, don't overthink it. Don't pick yourself apart. The best way to get over it is do more practice. And there's nothing that's unsolvable. So if you find you're blinking too much, well, stop blinking. And you might find, okay, it's because I'm nervous. If you're nervous, I'd say go for a walk or something beforehand. If some of you start cold, like in your first answer, you're all over the place, but by the third answer, you're great. Warm up before you get into the interview room, right? So there's all these. So the reason I don't want to go too deep right now because we've got a lot of people here, but whatever you guys are seeing, you just practice, it's probably going to overcome it. And then if you have any specific questions for what you guys want to work on, that's when you can message me and we can go one-on-one. Okay. But I'm glad that you saw that. All right. So Win or Juliana, do you want to do rock, paper, scissors, or who's up next?
I'm willing to do it.
Win's like, not me. All right. So we'll expect the best answer from Win then, because she's gone last. All right. So Juliana, why should we pick you as our next Miss Earth USA?
Because I represent what it means to be a leader within the environmental world. I live, breathe, and sleep taking care of the environment and doing everything that I can to ensure the safety of it for future generations. I commit hours of volunteer work to the environment with taking care of the species that inhabit my local area. Not only that, but I educate the youth on how one day they can also do what I do in taking care of the environment. While actions are lovely and they do a lot to help the environment, education truly is the best tool when it comes to saving and preserving the environment. When you educate one, that person will go on to educate others in the environmental world. And that is why I believe that when it comes to system like Miss Earth USA, I am ready to take on the role of being Miss Earth USA.
All right, Juliana, I love that answer. What I'm just going to quick feedback before I put the video up. I love the substance of your answer, and I think you're on exactly the right path, because Miss Earth USA really needs someone who walks their talk. I do think you're going to want to shorten your answers a little bit so that you can get more of your substance in, because what you're saying is so good. I want you to answer as many questions as possible so that by the time you by the time you're in that interview room, I want you to have answered every question they have, and they just go, Julia, we've got to pick Juliana, otherwise we're crazy, right? But if you stay a little bit too long, if you're repeating yourself at all in the interview question, how long is Miss Earth USA interview, by the way? Do you know?
It's about 5 minutes.
Okay, which will go by very quickly. So if we can get you down to 30-second answers, we get 10 questions. If we do 1 minute, which that one was about a minute, we only get 5 questions. Throw in an intro there and a how are you, we're down to 4 questions. So again, this is up to you, but because you're so good at answering and your brain is so good, you want to answer, I think, as many questions as possible, right? So either shorten and speak a bit faster, maybe. We'll go through the video, but just bear that in mind, all right? So let's go through. Why should we pick you as our next Miss Earth USA?
Because I represent what it means to be a leader within the environmental world. I live, breathe, and sleep taking care of the environment and doing everything that I can to ensure the safety of it for future generations. I commit hours of volunteer work to the environment with taking care of the species that inhabit my local area. Not only that, but I educate the youth on how one day they can also do what I do in taking care of the environment. While actions are lovely and they do a lot to help the environment, education truly is the best tool when it comes to saving and preserving the environment. When you educate one, that person will go on to educate others in the environmental world. And that is why I believe that when it comes to system like Miss Earth USA, I am ready to take on the role of being Miss Earth USA.
All right, so Juliana, your thoughts on your answer?
Okay, not too bad. I do notice where I repeat myself a little, but I'm not gonna bully myself about it. I definitely see where I was going for. Definitely do need to speak a little bit faster, so yeah.
Solid. Because I think the content of your answer is amazing, and I think you're the exact candidate that Miss Earth USA should be looking for. If they're not looking for that, I don't know what the hell they're looking for. Right, so we just want you to answer more questions, so speak more quickly, concatenate, so we're not repeating ourselves, because I think the more questions you get to answer, the stronger your candidacy is going to become. All right? Okay, Win, lucky last. All right, so here we go. So Win, tell us why you think we should pick you as our title holder.
You should select me as your title holder because I am prepared with a plan that comes straight from my heart, that is on a critical societal issue, and that is voter participation. I have a plan that makes it a more impactful year, not only for my platform, but also for our organization, our national service initiative, the Ruby Project, as well as recruiting additional contestants to our system so that we can continue to grow over the next 10 years of American Royal Beauties.
Very, very nice. All right, so Win, just as I'm bringing that up, quick bit of feedback. You mentioned a plan, love it. If you are able to actually mention a few points or even 1 or 2 points from the plan to demonstrate it, so rather than saying, I have a plan, my first step as the next Miss American Royal Beauties will be to do boom, boom, boom. Then you're not just talking about it, you're showing it, okay? But other than that, I'll replay it and you can have a look for yourself. Tell us why you think we should pick you as our title holder.
You should select me as your title holder because I am prepared with a plan that comes straight from my heart, that is on a critical societal issue, and that is voter participation. I have a plan that makes it a more impactful year, not only for my platform, but also for our organization, our national service initiative, the Ruby Project, as well as recruiting additional contestants to our system so that we can continue to grow over the next 10 years of American Royal Beauties.
Okay, so Win, what did you think of your answer?
I think that I need to talk more on those themes outside of the pageant interview with friends, family members, work colleagues, so that The pacing of that answer is more like my natural speaking voice
Yeah,
because
agreed.
I'm thinking in that answer while I'm speaking.
Yeah.
I think your feedback too, Adrian, about saying a little bit about the plan. I know I'm hesitant because sometimes my answers can be too long. So I'm really
Mhm.
practicing with a 4-minute interview, but at counting 50% of the score. I'm really trying to practice of, keeping things condensed. But I
Okay,
did
so
do
what I
better
would
with my hands, with
absolutely
not going too crazy.
I would say you could speak. The pacing is an interesting one because I was going to say you probably could stand to speak about 20% faster, which means you could get 20% more in. I thought the answer length was perfect. What I would say is it's not just the length though. Like you guys have to understand what's our actual outcome here. Is it to stick to 30-second answers or is it to get the most impactful answer across as possible? And if your ultimate outcome is to make an impact, then some questions you will answer a bit longer. Some could be one-word answers. So it's what I was saying before, right? Don't worry so much about the Don't worry about is it 31 seconds or 29 seconds. Don't worry about is my face looking a certain way. At the end of the day, it's you need to convince the judging panel you are the best woman for the job. And all four of you, all five of us, are going to have different ways of doing that. I speak in a certain way. My voice is pretty monotone, so I have to, and I'm pretty handsy. But I've seen, if you guys don't know, I've done probably close up to 400 interviews over the last 10 years. For the first 100 of those, I needed to edit them myself. I have seen myself and heard myself talking more than I ever want to for the rest of my life. But the great benefit of that is that I go, oh my God, I sound terrible. Oh my God, why is your head moving like that? And why are you speaking so slowly? And why do you keep repeating? So you can, and I know I said don't pick yourself apart too much, but pot calling kettle black sort of thing. If you guys want to really improve, where it's really at is record your answers, watch them back yourself. I know it's hugely scary. That's why, as I said, 80% of even the Miss USA girls haven't done it. If you want one way to stand apart from the crowd, watch your own replays, your own interview answers back. And you don't have an excuse because you all have a phone. It's not like back in the day you needed a video camera. I don't know. Like I'm aging myself here. Deanna probably doesn't know what a video camera is. She's never seen one. Juliana, I don't know. But I actually had to get a proper video camera out, on a tripod with a tape. If you guys don't know, no, sorry, what's a tape? Okay, I had to do that. But my point is, watch yourself back relentlessly, okay? Because that's going to be the best way for you to improve. Now, we are running out of time, but I want to do a bit more. Here's what I want to do, and this is the first time through, and so I'm thinking on my feet. What I want to do now is go straight into an actual mock interview scenario. And so I'm going to put one person in the hot seat, and then I'm going to get the other three of you to ask that hot seat person one question at a time. And I'm not going to stop for the replay. You'll be able to watch the replay back later, but I want to get as close to the real thing as possible. So, for example, if Deanna goes first, we'll go in order. So we'll go, Juliana will ask her a question, Deanna answers. Then Leilani will ask her a question, then Deanna answers. And then finally, Wynn will ask a question, and then Deanna will answer. Okay? If you don't feel like you know enough to ask a specific question to whoever is on, then just ask a more generic question. Okay? Try not to repeat what we've done before. But it could be as simple as tell us a bit about yourself. Or I love your glasses. Okay. Or Win, I can see you've got a namaste sign in the background. Is that important to anything? Okay. So think on your feet. Win, I'm going now, just because of time. Does anyone need to go? Because if you need to go, I'll put you in the hot seat first. Everyone's doing this. Okay. We'll go. Win, I'm going to put you in the hot seat this time. Okay. So Win's up first. We're going to go Deanna to ask a question. Then Juliana, then Leilani. I won't record these answers. You better watch them back in the entirety of the replay, but I won't do the video replay back. Now I just want to get that really hard practice in. Okay, so Deanna, when you're ready, a question to Win.
What is one thing you have done within the past months to help your community, and what is one thing you plan to do within the upcoming month?
So, one thing that happens in Omaha every year is an event called Baseball-Oween, and it's a Halloween event at our semi-professional baseball field. And as a first-time volunteer there this year, it was incredibly fun to see the children there, specifically because it was children from underserved communities having a trunk or treat type of experience. So that was really fun and a little bit different, and I love Halloween. So something that's coming up within the next month is there is a new initiative with our local League of Women Voters, and I'm really excited to get involved. It's called Rise and Raise. And I don't know too much about it yet, but I really enjoy participating in the League of Women Voters, and I'm excited to do more.
Perfect. All right, Juliana, your question.
All right, just to switch things up a bit, tell me about a hobby that you have that you really love.
Yes, so I love listening to musicals. I have no singing talent myself, but my 20-year-old daughter got me really into Hamilton. So I always listen to the soundtrack of Hamilton when we're taking road trips. And here more recently, my 11-year-old daughter and I have gotten into Wicked. And next Monday night, we'll be going to the movie premiere of Wicked. So it's super fun. I love the music and I love bonding with my daughters over it.
Perfect. All right, Leilani, your question to win.
And what do you like about the American Royal Beauty system?
What I love the most about the American Royal Beauty System is our focus on service and our motto, Crowned to Serve. One of my personal goals is to earn the equivalent, or if it gets reinstated, the Lifetime Presidential Service Award, which our organization promotes and was a licensed distributor of those awards. So I'm so excited that that is a way that all of us can participate, whether we have a title or not, and not just participate, but participate in ways that transform our communities.
Well done, Win. All right. As I said, we're going to move on because I just want to get the practice in. So, Leilani, I'm going to put you in the hot seat next. Now, Deanna, Juliana, and Win, you probably know nothing about Leilani except what you might remember from the video. So you're going to have to think on your toes. Just ask a random generic question, or if you do remember something, go for it. And then if Leilani doesn't understand the question, we'll deal with it. Okay. But Deanna, I'll get you to go first. Can you ask Leilani a question? Give it your best shot.
What's a fun fact about you that you have not told us already and you think most people wouldn't guess about you?
Ooh, a fun fact that I haven't said is that I almost danced for Michael Jackson when he came to Hawaii back in 1995. I was about 10 or 9 or 10. And the only reason I didn't actually go was my dad was not a Michael Jackson fan, so he didn't really want us to be there saying hi to him. So we didn't go, but I almost did. So that's a fun fact.
That might be the best fun fact I've ever heard. Okay. Yeah, Juliana, your question for Leilani, please.
All right, all right. So from your video, I saw that you live in Hawaii. I just want to confirm you're native Hawaii, right?
I am native Hawaiian, yes.
So my question is, I'm also Indigenous. I'm half Indigenous. So I want to know from one fellow native to another, what is your most favorite thing about your culture?
Oh, thank you. I love that question, and it's so nice to see another Indigenous sister. I mean, what I love most about Hawaiian culture, I would say, is the aloha spirit. I know you've heard aloha, it's said a lot, but what it really means, the deepest part, alo, A-L-O, it means presence. So we're here in the same time and space, and ha is breath in Hawaiian. So it's in the presence of the breath of life. Like, that's what aloha is, and it's love. It's expressing the deepest part of who you are with whoever is in front of you, and it would start with those closest and go outward. But I think that's what I love the most about Hawaiian culture, is that heart to share and that heart to really embrace whoever is here. So thank you. I love that question.
Yeah, great question, Juliana, and well done remembering that from the video. I don't really want to do this, but I want to point out one thing. When you're doing your answers, and even when you're listening, have a look at how many of you we all have different facial expressions. I've got the RBF, so pardon my swearing, but resting bitch face. Okay, so I have problems smiling. It's difficult for me. But some of you, when you're hearing the questions, the answers, you're doing this or we're laughing. Now that's something, once you've got the basics of interview down, these are little cues you want to be looking at with your judges, because guess what? If your judges are laughing, hopefully not laughing at you, but laughing with you, because there's a distinction, or they're nodding, guess what? You've got them on board. Okay, if they're just sitting there passively or they're checking their phone, I mean, yes, they might be very rude or unprofessional, but that means they're disengaged. So these are signs when you see your judges doing this, or when they're smiling or they're nodding along with you, that's a really good sign. So you're hitting home. So whatever you're doing is working. Okay, just let me throw that in there. All right, so Win, lucky last question for Leilani, please.
Yes, so you just taught me, and I'm guessing others, something that we didn't know about aloha. So thank you. What else can you teach us?
Ah, so let's go with ho'okipa. Ho'okipa is hospitality. So when I served as a flight attendant with Hawaiian Airlines, that was one of our very important values at the company. And so that ho'okipa is, again, it's a sense of welcoming. It's a sense of, how can I serve you? Are you comfortable? Like, do you need anything? And a constant, just really observant, and also just very, I want to say, like, embracing kind of feeling, so that the other person feels at ease, and that they're safe, and that they're so welcome. So that's another thing that I love, again, about Hawaiian culture. Honestly, I love Hawaiian culture so much, and honestly, there's so much more that I can even learn myself, and that learning never stops. But that's something that I'm honored to share.
Perfect. Okay, so guys, I know I'm not replaying these answers for you straight away, but when I send you the replay, watch your answers back here in the longer form, being asked 3 questions in a row. And again, make notes and then go and practice on whatever you want to practice. All right, we're going to put Juliana in the hot seat next. And let's keep people on their toes. I'm going to get Win, because she looks like she's preparing, so I'm going to get her to do it right now. So can you ask Juliana a question, please?
Yes, Juliana, when I donate clothing that is no longer useful for my family, one of my concerns is it going to end up in a landfill? So, what do I need to know about that process and making responsible choices?
Well, you can look at your clothing and see whether or not it can be repurposed for anything else, maybe stuffing in a stuffed animal or used to make quilts. Another thing is, since you are also a woman and you have more feminine clothing, you can donate it to women's shelters to ensure that not only is it not going into a landfill, but it's going to somebody in need.
Perfect. Juliana, so I know Miss Earth USA, I just spoke to the title holder. They do have the 5 R's. So if you want to leverage off that, what is it? Recycle, reuse. I love your answer. I'm not saying your answer is bad, but it just popped into my head. I don't remember what the 5 R's are. I probably should. Guys, whilst we're doing this, make your own notes, give a score, or pretend like, how would you answer the question? All right. Deanna, we're not leaving you out. Can you ask Juliana a question, please?
For Miss Earth USA, what do you think that they should be able to talk about their political affiliation, and at what point should it be stopped, or do you think title holders should be able to say whatever they want no matter what?
That is a very good question. I do believe to a degree that as a Earth title holder, we should be allowed to speak on political issues. Unfortunately, the environment is seen as a political leverage, whether it be from drilling to endangered species. So to a degree, this is already a political conversation as is, but I do believe it's best to keep in mind that we are here to serve and protect the environment.
Deanna, I can tell you've been in the Miss America system already, because you asked. I think you've asked the hardest questions. So
I love it personally. Keep asking me political ones. I'm ready.
100%. Like I also prefer getting the hard questions because if I can answer the hard questions, the easy questions are going to be walk in the park. Also, the reason I'm doing it like in this format for us, I want to make this practice as hard as possible so that when you guys go into your interview room, like, oh, this is really easy. But I love those questions because it's a very important one. We call it like politicized. Like there's certain issues that have been politicized that probably shouldn't be. Unfortunately, they are. But good on you, Juliana, for answering that one. That's a tricky one and a really good question, Deanna. I hope that none of you guys get Deanna on your judging board. If you do, then be prepared for those really difficult questions. All right, Leilani. So you don't know much about Juliana because you weren't here for the intros. But by all means, she's competing in Miss Earth USA. Ask her whatever you want.
Okay. I would love to know what cultures do you represent from your background, and then what's something that's important to you about one or all of them?
I'm actually so happy to answer this. So my mom is Cherokee and Shawnee. More specifically, my clan is the Wolf clan with Cherokee, and my dad is European. And what I really love coming from my mother's culture is how we view animals and the environment. So my love for the environment goes beyond just a moral compass, but also a more personal and cultural bias of where we see animals as our brothers and sisters. They all serve a purpose, and our purpose is to take care of them because they are our family.
Okay, Juliana, that as a talking point for yourself is huge. You need to find a way to bring that up in your interview. Also, when you watch this back, please notice that your face came alive when you answered that question in a way that it didn't in the other ones. Yeah, so I don't know what it is. It's obviously something I would guess that it resonates with you and you're excited to talk about. So your face literally went like you said, I'm so excited to talk about this. That's what we want in every answer, right? So, I mean, yes, sometimes it's serious, but that's when people think, I want more personality. That's what we're talking about, all right? So my whole point is that we don't need to teach you how to do it. You already know how to do it. All you need to work out is what set me off there, and then every question, find something in it that excites you. Like, what's a fun fact about you? Oh, pizza. I can't wait to tell you about pizza, right? If the question is very serious and you're like this, that's when people are going to say, he needs to show more personality. And you're like, what are you talking about? Okay. All right. So Deanna has grilled you with her hard questions. So you now get to grill poor Deanna with your hard questions. Let's start with Juliana. We'll go with Juliana and give Deanna whatever question you want.
Oh boy, my favorite thing. Okay. So you're going into which system again?
Miss America.
Perfect. All right. Considering the American climate right now with ICE agents roaming the cities, what is your thoughts and opinions on them?
Well, I think one of the things that I've been having to be aware of is there have been some ICE raids in schools. And as a person that takes academics very seriously, in my opinion, that is in no way, shape, or form the time or place to do that. Not only is it hindering their education, it is hindering all students' education and is being a distraction. And one of the things that I think we should do is well, yes, I don't think that we should have necessarily people free roaming and being allowed into the country without going through legal channels. I do think that we need to make it more accessible for people to be able to enter the country, be legal immigrants, get visas through legal means easier rather than having to wait decades before they even get their green card.
Tough question and well answered. So Deanna, the thing with that is people often talk about America being a country built on immigrants. Australia is exactly that as well. So you can work that into your answer. That was a very tough question, by the way. If you can answer that, you can probably answer anything. And again, being only 15 years old, if I was asked that, I'd probably just pass out. But that's me. All right. So Leilani, your chance to ask Deanna a question. Go for it.
What is your dream, or sorry, scratch that. Why would you like to be Miss America's teen?
This is something that I have quite literally been excited about and looking forward to since I can remember. Little fun fact about me, I've been singing since before I could talk. My mom would sing me a lullaby and I just ba 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 it back to her. And that's one of the reasons why I was so drawn to the Miss America system is because not only is it about community service, being the girl next door, being someone that represents an entire state and the entire country, but it's also about getting to show the things that you're passionate about, such as my talent of singing and being able to talk about my CSI Clean Start and what I plan to do with it in the future.
All right, so Deanna, amazing answer. You just did a Juliana there. Your voice, your face came alive, and then you inserted the fun fact, and you were so excited to talk about it. It got a laugh out of me. That's when you're on a winning formula. Okay, so if you can work out fun facts about yourself to answer in questions that even are serious, because we don't want it to be too heavy. Judges, as much as they might say they want that, they don't. They like to have a chance to laugh or to be entertained a little bit. So I thought that was an absolutely great answer. All right, so Win, your chance to ask lovely Deanna a question.
So it sounds like you're going to be singing for your talent. So I have a three-part question. What piece are you going to be singing and why did you select it? What part about it is very difficult for you? And what score are you trying to achieve in this competition?
Well, I'm gonna work somewhat out of order here. So the score that I'm trying to achieve is an 11 because while it is impossible to achieve above a 10, I personally believe that I should always be trying to improve myself. And even if I do get perfect 10s from you today, I still want to be better than I can be and better than I was, constantly improving every performance. And the piece that I will be singing is Not for the Life of Me from Thoroughly Modern Millie. And this is a song that's really important to me because whenever my vocal coach Kaylee introduced me to it, I fell in love with it because of how passionate it is, about how much it's about. No, I'm not going to be held back by other people's limitations, and I'm just going to be exactly who I am. And one of the toughest parts for me is being able to perform it again and again and again because one of the things is, as I've mentioned earlier, I always want to be better than I was. And so every time I perform it, I'm getting a little bit and a little bit better. Eventually, it's so hard to improve on, but I still keep working to it.
Beautiful. All right, real quick. So Win asked a three-part question. That immediately makes it exponentially harder to answer, just so everyone knows. So when I do my interviews, I always try to just ask a one-part question because even when it goes to two, now my interviewee is having to remember what the other part of the question was. Now, you can do that if you want to make it more difficult. So that's fine as a judge. What Deanna, you did really well. You answered it out of order, but that's fine because I feel like you answered the part that you'd be most likely to forget first. So you answered with the score because you're not like going to forget that the question was about singing and what you're going to sing, but you might forget that part about the score. And so if you guys get asked a multi-part question, that's when you really got to clue in. You can do a thing with your fingers, like they ask you for three things and you can put the acronym. Hopefully it's like song, score, or stage, and it's like 3 S's. That may help. But by and large, when you get asked multi-part questions, you're really going to have to focus. If you blank on one of the parts, answer what you can, and then just say, sorry, what was the other part of your question? Sometimes, by the way, the judges can't remember the different parts of their own question. So by and large, I tend to avoid the multi-part questions when not because they're difficult, but because they can sort of halt the flow of the interview if they forget and then you forget as well. That's just my own opinion on it. But well within your rights to do that. And Deanna, really well done. Okay, now just before I go around one more time. So what we did here, it's $19.99 per session, right? Obviously, if you want to attend next week, because I want to do it on a weekly basis and as an experiment to see if you guys get value from that. But just so you know, our paid members over on our website, they pay $19.99 a month. And I'm allowing them to do this as part of that membership. So if you want to attend next week and the week after, and then the third week, because that would be a month, just send me an email and I'll comp you in, like I'll give you a 1 month free subscription to our website so that you can then attend the other 3 ones without having to pay $19.99 again. Okay, so just bear that in mind. If you just one and done, that's great, more power to you. But I just want to let you know, so send me an email and I will comp you for a month. And then if you want to continue after that, then you can do the $19.99 a month. I just feel that if like Juliana's competing in December and she does 4 mock interviews between now and then, she can't really get worse, right? She'll have to get better. And all of you guys are already up here. And I think you guys having seen and heard yourselves, your brain is probably buzzing going, oh, I want to work on this. I want to work on this. And this thing is to give you a chance to practice. If you need the one-on-one, I think you can tell this doesn't replace the one-on-one. The one-on-one is more tailored just to you, but the one-on-ones are more expensive. Let's be honest. So this is more of a chance for you to practice. And with the pressure as well of having answered it. And by the way, well done to all of you, because I know it can be confronting to answer a question in front of other pageant contestants. And you've done that here. But that pressure is going to be your friend. We've got the recording. I'll send that to your emails. So if you don't get that within 24 hours, let me know. If you want to take me up on, doing more mock interviews and you want me to comp you into our membership program, let me know that. Otherwise, we've been on for an hour and 20. I said an hour, so I'm only 20 minutes over time. Does anyone have any questions for me at all? Anything?
I'll just say this has been great. Thank you for doing it. I've got a tremendous value out of it, and I can't wait to watch the journeys of the other ladies here. I'll be cheering you on all the way. So excited for you.
Thank you, Win. Can we just go around the room and quickly tell everyone what our Instagrams are in case you want to follow each other? No pressure. Okay, but just so we can follow each other's, and I hope you remember your handles. All right, so Deanna, what's yours?
Miss Deanna Nicole Reynolds. That is Miss DeannaNicolereyNolds.
Perfect. Juliana, what is yours?
Okay, so mine is _ Juliana, Juliana _ Golden, Golden, and _. And you'll also find in my bio there my handle for my pageant account as well.
You have 3 of my pet peeves in your handle, Juliana. I hate underscores in handles because they're so hard to get to on a mobile key.
Sorry, I made it when I was 14. I'm not changing it.
There was someone who I interviewed, an Australian title holder, and her TikTok, her name was Janaea Ramers. And she had made on her interview, I said, what is your TikTok handle? Because I found it. And she didn't know what it was because it's like JAAYREEIM, like, and then 23 at the end. And I said, did you choose it to be like this, or did you type it when you were falling down a mountain? Because you can't remember what your TikTok handle was. How am I supposed to remember it? Anyway, pet peeve, but that's fine. Leilani, your Instagram handle or TikTok or all of the above.
Yeah, mine is I am Leilani Soon because someone took Leilani Soon, so I had to say I am Leilani Soon. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks.
And Win?
Yes, mine is Wyn, WYN _ Sipple, SIPPLE.
Perfect. All right. I will assume that you guys know where I'm at because otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here in the first place. So whether you found me yourself or your mum dobbed you in, which I think was Juliana's case, your mum found me and then dobbed you in, and then I'm chatting to you in the car with your mum listening. There's many adventures when you go on a rant. Anyway.
The whole meeting I've used as an example.
This is what I bring everyone on, but so I can embarrass each one of you. So, guys, if you want to do this on a weekly basis, as I said, just send me an email and I'll comp you in for a month, and that's at least another 3 practices. It's your choice. I'm not pressuring you at all. And look for the replay in the next 24 hours. I'll get it to you. Or of course, if you have any questions, just send me a DM. I'm not going to get you, pay for me to answer any questions or anything that you weren't comfortable disclosing in front of everyone else. I understand that. So just let me know. Any other questions before I let you go? Because I actually have another interview. I've got to do an interview. So if you're on Instagram, I'll be popping on live. You can watch that as well. or you can do other things. So thank you so much for attending. We'll wrap it up there, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Have
Thank
a good
you,
night.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.